I'm Fanny Vilk, welcome on this new channel, my first video in English on this English channel. I already have another channel in French most of the time. A lot of people ask me for translations, but to be honest, it takes so much time to make subtitles, so I decided to make a YouTube channel in English. So subscribe to this one if you want to have the English contents. I try to do my best about my French accent, so forget it. This video is going to talk about the fact that you should really not wear antique costumes. What are antique costumes? It's really easy. It's really old ones, because that's quite different from vintage costumes. And to sum up quite quickly, we can say that vintage is less than 100 years old, and everything that is antique is more than 100 years old. So my expertise is really about antique costumes. I don't know that much about vintage, so that's why I will only focus on antique costume. So let's go and let's see why you should never wear them, never. The first reason why you should not be wearing antique costumes is ethics. I mean, these pieces of costumes are part of history. They are really valuable. I mean, not that they cost a lot of money, it's just that they are a part of our history. They are very fragile. They are made of quite old materials, like linen, cotton, or wool, or silk. And all these materials, they grow old as we do, even if it's slower. Still, by getting old, they become very, very fragile. So every time you touch them, every time you are wearing them, and your body is not exactly the same shape as people who used to wear these costumes in the past. So every time you are moving, you are walking or anything like this, the fabric is just going to have some moves that should not be done to these very, very old materials. So it's going to scratch, it's going to be teared, and really to be damaged. And all these artifacts are historical artifacts. I mean, really, they are witness of our past, and they should be quite loved and maybe put in museums or in as a collection, maybe, if you have place and if you know how to care about them, but really not on people. The second reason for not wearing antique costumes is mold. I mean, you don't know how the costume was stored before you got it. Maybe there was some humidity in the air, and maybe a mold just decided to grow up on this costume or on this accessory, I mean. And once there is no more humidity in the air, then the mold is going to stop growing up, but it will still be there on the costume, just waiting for a good moment to wake up. And the day you are going to wear the costume, the humidity of the air or maybe your sweat is going to wake it up. And once mold is going to wake up, because there is maybe years or hundreds of years being stopped to develop, then the mold is going to grow up quite quicker than it used to. And still you don't see anything, but there is maybe spore in the air around you, and if you breathe it, or if someone around you is breathing this spore, you don't know what can happen. I mean, you can just be sick because this mold decide to now live in your body, because it's better, it's nicer than on the costume. Okay, I mean, I don't think it could happen every day, but still it can happen. That's why if I were you, I would really be careful with the storage of antique costumes. The third part is about the fact that there can be a lot of toxic chemicals inside the antique costumes. I really would advise you to read this fabulous book from Alison Matthews David. It's in English, and it's really good because you will have much more information than what I'm going to share with you. But really, it's something very common in the past to use chemicals, but not the kind of chemicals we are using today, because today we are checking if it's dangerous or not for the health of people who are going to wear the outfits. But in those days, it was not checked, or it was known, but no one cared, because I mean, money is more important than the health of people. So that's why you need to be very careful, because, for example, there is something well known. It's a famous green, which comes from arsenic. And you can find it too on some blue or some purple, and there is really a lot of them, and in many antique items. So that's why you should be very careful, because it just can spread because of the humidity of your skin. I mean, with your sweat, you can just reactivate the poison, and you just can have it through your skin and have it in your body. That's why it's really dangerous to try this kind of costumes. And I'm talking about arsenic, so you are going to tell me, yeah, but I don't care, I will not be wearing green or stuff like that. But in fact, you can have lead as well, in many other colors or embellishments, because it's something really common during the 19th century. Then you can tell me, okay, but so I am going to avoid the 19th century clothing. I mean, it will not help you a lot, because a lot of costumes that are coming from before the 19th century, sometimes they were just kept and to keep their shape, or they were washed during the 19th century, and by doing it, they were adding a lot of chemicals. So even if it's from the 18th century or before, I mean, it doesn't mean that it was not altered, or it was not spread with toxic chemicals during the 19th century or during the Edwardian period. So that's why just checking how old it is not enough to prevent you from using this kind of costumes or accessories, because it's about headdresses, about gloves, and a lot of other things like that. The other very famous example is for hat, because I guess you know Mad Hatters, the people who used to make hats. They used to use a lot of mercury, and mercury is really toxic. That's why they get mad at a very early age, and I know that I have a lot of friends in French museums who are telling me, oh, we don't care because it was a long time ago, and the mercury or the lead or the arsenic or anything, all the toxic chemicals, they are gone since long, because the artifact is really old. And I mean, no, it doesn't work this way. Okay, there is maybe a little bit less than what it used to be when it was done, but still, years and years after, you still find a lot of these toxic chemicals inside the antique costumes. For example, about the hats, there is in this book a very good example. They are talking about the fact that in the Victoria and Albert Museum, they did a test of their felt hat collection from 1820 to 1930, so 110 years of felt hats, and they discovered that at least 50% of them still have a very high level of mercury. That's why they are not now storing it into bags, and they will not manipulate them without gloves. So that's why, if the Victoria and Albert Museum, who has people with a lot of knowledge about this topic, decide to use prevention and to avoid touching this kind of material, I think you should do the same at home. I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to know more about the danger of antique costumes and the dangers in fashion, historical fashion, buy this book because it's very, very good. You will spend good time reading it. I hope you like this idea of having an English channel for Temps d'Élégance. I will share many more videos on many other topics. I think I will make another video on this topic of dangers of wearing antique costumes, because under the French video I had a lot of comments, I had a lot of questions, even on emails and phone calls. So I think I really have enough questions to one day make another video on this topic. So share your own questions, and so I will be able to answer you as well. Until then, thank you very much for your support and take care. Bye bye.